right. Hello, everyone. Come on in to Act
Hi,
Now Live. I'm Dr. Natalie Phillips. Good to see you.
I'm Regeanie Corona.
All
Happy
right. And so
Sunday.
happy Sunday, everyone. Okay. So we are just finishing up our topic of the month. I'm just going to put it up here. And we've been talking about fear this month, and we've talked about, taking action steps to become fearless. What are some of the excuses that we tell ourselves that might hold us back? Maybe overcoming fear with trust, as well as today, we're going to be focusing on the transformation of your mind when you overcome fear. So we're super excited to be here. We are planning out the next month already. We have some great topics for you next month. We're going to put that up here as well, so that you can kind of save the date here. But next month, we're going to be talking about mindset and goal setting. And so, start saving those dates that we are going to be every Sunday, 3:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 4:00 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, because we will be back on every Sunday with goal setting and just your mindset. So we're excited for the month of July. Thank you guys so much for tuning in through the month of June. If you have missed any of our episodes, I just want to make sure that you know that we are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. They are posted there. You can come back to our Facebook page as well. And we have a Facebook group that you can join in, and we're going to dive deeper into some of the action steps that we talk about every week. So we will be back with our topic right after this. So enjoy. All right. Okay. So, Reg, this week is kind of really fun because we've walked through our action steps. We've, walked through assessing. We've talked about committing. And today we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about the transformation. But transformation begins with your thoughts, and even your mindset. And so let's talk about thoughts and what we tell ourselves, why people maybe stop themselves short from taking action. I really believe that, it comes down to possibly self-doubt, self-sabotaging, or maybe even just feeling stuck. So let's start by sharing some of our own stories, whether we've kind of walked through any one of those things, self-sabotage, self-doubt, or being stuck. So I'm going to have you start.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have stories in all three. When we talked about this topic, what I thought about was self-sabotage. I mean, that has been a big one, not just for me, but for a number of people that I've worked with, that I've talked to. They get stuck in different self-sabotaging behaviors. And I'm very guilty of getting stuck in procrastination. And we talked about that in a prior episode, but I don't know if many people recognize that procrastination is actually a self-sabotaging behavior. And it's one that we do almost unconsciously. Like, we do it and we don't really think about it. And we'll just say, oh, okay, I'll wait and do that. And I started recognizing that behavior mostly because my husband, Daniel, was constantly on me about, why are you procrastinating? Why aren't you doing this? And why are you waiting? And I had to start self-evaluating. And I started realizing that a lot of times I am putting things off because I'm afraid of the commitment that's attached to the outcome. And because usually when I do things, I will have success in it, but that success means I've got to stay committed to it. And I'm not always good with the commitment. So really recognizing early that it's self-sabotage. So now I'll recognize that and I'll stop and think, okay, what do I need to do to overcome that? And so that's how I deal with the procrastination piece. Definitely not over it fully. I still deal with it some, but I've made a lot of progress in that area. And so the other piece that I think is so important that's attached to this is we also tend to worry about things. And I'm guilty of that as well. I worry about things, and I worry so much about them that I don't attach a problem solving mechanism to it. Like, I won't solve for the problem. I'll get stuck in the worry. And I always refer to this as ruminating. And I will tell people, don't ruminate over something. Don't just spend so much time that you're worrying about the thing as opposed to identifying a solution to dealing with it. So that's kind of mine. And I've dealt with for a very long time, but I finally started having progress with it because I recognized it was self-sabotage.
So, okay. So I always like to talk about something, but I always like to come to a solution. So you've worked through some of this. So what's one of the ways that you beat procrastination and self-sabotaging?
Recognizing, well, one thing is scaling back on things a little bit. So instead of feeling like I have to bite off everything at once, I make it smaller chunks, which goes to that idea of breaking it down to 30, 60, or 90 days. And I typically will try to do 90 days. Then when I look at the 90 days as opposed to something that's really big, that's a 12-day or 12-year or 12-month goal, then in my mind, I can minimize the outcome a little bit, which minimizes the commitment. So I don't feel so overwhelmed with the commitment. And I kind of trick myself into, I still do whatever it is I'm going to do, but I trick myself into thinking, okay, the commitment isn't as big. And that's literally how I overcame it, which is really kind of a mindset thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I like that too, because I feel like, if anybody's out there that is watching this and you're a procrastinator, I mean, put it in the comments, put your little raise hand emoji like that. I would be all over that because I'm very guilty of that as well. And if you have any ways that you are beating procrastination in some clever ways, like with Reg, just taking it down to smaller tasks, make it not so overwhelming. And so, we are here to, again, talk to you guys, talk to each other, but then also if you are participating and engaging with us, we would love that. So if you're a procrastinator and you've beat it somehow and you want to share the creative ways that you've done it, we want you to put that in the comments so that other people can actually benefit as well. So, for me, I think that, I'm going to go with self-sabotaging as well. I think that one of the biggest things, in some of my story that we've also talked about is just not believing in yourself that you have the right goods or the skills or whatever it is, whether it's, me as a speaker on stage or starting a business outside of where I got a degree or received a degree in. It's always me saying, oh, who am I to do blank, or I don't have the skills. And so again, the two things that I've learned to continue to move ahead through that, because I don't want to just say, this is the problem, right? But I want to have some action steps for people is, again, I feel like some of these things are the internal vampires that you have that are just eating away at you. And some of the things that I fed myself never really happened. It was just all the things that I was telling myself. So, one of the things that I found that really helps is surrounding myself with people who actually support me and actually believe in me, because they will be the ones, like Reg has been for me, but they will be the ones that will actually say, you're being so ridiculous, because some of the times when things are quiet, that's when those internal vampires come out and they just attack you. And, I think just placing yourself in a very supportive area helps you, because you have to be really careful about what you say out loud, because once you speak something, you start to believe it more. So whether they're internal vampires that come out later, with self-sabotage, you want to be very, very careful to, what helped for me was to surround myself with those people. And then also just noticing that other people are listening. And so knowing that if you're saying, especially for my daughter, let's say, if I'm overweight, or, oh my gosh, this looks bad, she actually scolds me and says, stop saying that kind of stuff, which makes me think, oh my gosh, other people are listening. So again,
Mhm.
that's the second way that I've figured out how to just kind of stop the self-sabotaging behavior. We have some beautiful people here. It's good
Oh,
to see you,
Kristen.
Kristen.
Hi,
She says, I'm
Kristen.
constantly pushing through procrastinating. It always comes back to exposing my fears. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. It's just one of those things where if we can't deal with our fears, we're going to just keep pushing back on the things we really don't want to attack
Yeah,
and never do it. Right. And so I mean, Kristen actually, if people don't know Kristen, get out there. She is an amazing, amazing
she
health and life
is.
coach that has really, really cool and innovative ways and that actually work to help you get your life and your body back in order. And so,
Mhm.
Kristen, reach out to her, connect to her. I'm glad she's on the show watching. She is actually a go-getter. And so I would have to say, Kristen, whatever you're fearing and procrastinating, it does not look like it is with you because you're putting yourself out there and you're making a lot of change and a lot of impact for so many people. So we're thankful for you. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so that's kind of my story. And with our stories, we also want to make sure that we don't just leave you with things, but we have some action steps. Every time we
Mhm.
come up on here, we want to make sure we're leaving you with action steps. And Reg actually talked about this first one about when she feels overwhelmed, what to do. And I mean, this is what she walked through. And so
Mhm.
hopefully this will help people understand that when you are overwhelmed, take a break, try to take smaller steps. Like she said, break off your goals into smaller pieces. So that way, it's a little bit easier to attack and you don't have that fear of saying, oh my gosh, what's in front of me is like way too big to attack.
Yeah.
So I think what she had suggested in these smaller steps and just kind of taking a break, taking a step back really, really helps you focus.
Yeah, I
What's
think
another one?
that one's really important. Another one would be when you feel like you're not getting anywhere, just take a pause and give yourself grace. It's okay. The world's not going to come to an end if you didn't meet that specific thing. Just look at why didn't you meet it? Why didn't you do it? Or why aren't you taking action? And pivot, do something different. Look at what your triggers might be and start addressing those triggers so that you can be released from whatever they are so that you can take action. But making sure that every day you give yourself grace and you recognize that it's okay. I don't have to be perfect. And perfectionism is another one that I always say I'm a recovering perfectionist. And that's also self-sabotaging behavior. So we didn't talk about that today, but that's a whole show of its own. So just recognize all of that, give yourself grace, and be okay with the fact that you're not going to be perfect. None of us are perfect, and
Mhm.
that's actually a good thing. So,
Yeah, yeah.
what's
Yep.
another
And
one?
then, one last action step too is that again, we both actually talked about self-sabotage, maybe even self-doubt on my part. And again, when you feel self-doubt, try to check in with an accountability partner. This is something that has changed my life in the last year and a half,
Mine
being an
too.
accountability partner with
Mhm.
Reg. And so have that accountability partner. We're hoping that in our private group, we're going to be able to maybe even pair you guys up with somebody that can hold you accountable. We're really excited because we know the importance of having this, maybe even pairing people up it would get that next step going and helping people move forward. But I really believe that in order to overcome this self-doubt, we've talked about this whole month about fear,
Yeah.
procrastination, whatever it is, have that accountability partner. Reg talks a lot about journaling too. And a lot of the journaling that she does is because she can look back. She can look back. That's kind of her accountability partner as well. She can look back and see, oh my gosh, a year ago, this is what I was feeling and thinking, and these were my goals at the same time. That's a way of having an accountability partner as well.
Mhm.
Kristen says progress over progression or perfection. Yes, absolutely. And we
Yes.
have Araceli Santana.
Araceli.
Good to
Hi,
see you.
Araceli.
You ladies are so right. One thing at a time, or not to not feel overwhelmed. Now I need to start and not procrastinate. That's my homework. Yay! Okay, yes.
Yes.
So we're talking about transformation, and I wanted to just share a little bit more of taking my just audiology world into thinking about transformation, because I spend a lot of time with my patients, and I do tinnitus therapy. So people that have ringing in their ears, they kind of get so focused on this ringing that they're not able to move forward, and they're not able to forget about it and put it in the back of their mind. And so what I teach them is what I call the neurophysiological model of tinnitus, where basically I'm retraining their brain to not pay attention to that. So if you think about just doing actions, right? You physically have to take an action in order for your brain to reorganize so that you can move forward. So for example, what I tell my patients, I don't know if you guys can hear that thunder and the hail.
I hear the thunder.
You can hear it?
Yeah, a little.
Okay. So, but what I tell my patients is that, let's say you're going to another country and you're traveling in a car. And when you get to that country, you are going to be driving on the opposite side of the car, and you're going to be driving on the opposite side of the road, and you're going to be turning in lanes that are going to be on the opposite. I mean, everything is just a little bit off, right? And so you can physically, you can read the manual of how to drive, kind of visualize it in your mind and everything. But it's not until you actually land and get into that new country, get in that car, start to drive, where that action sends those signals to your brain and say, no, you are going to have to do this in order to overcompensate or undercompensate or whatever you're going to do so that you don't crash, right? But you have to make this physical action. You have to take that physical action in order for your brain to transform.
Natalie, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. It looks like my mic was unplugged, it says. So you want to make sure that when you're thinking about transformation, right? It's not just visualizing. It's not just writing it down in a journal. But if you start to take that physical action, your brain is going to learn how to react, act, and move forward and not be afraid of different things. And so I wanted to share that with you all because I think it's super important to think about that and think how important taking physical action really is in order to transform your mind.
Yeah. I think that's really, really so important.
Yeah. So, again, spending this last week about transformation, we want to just kind of wrap up everything, make sure that you, I'm just going to put up this other banner that we have, Reg, and put this up. We want to make sure we kind of walk you through, again, the steps of us kind of taking you through some of the different things that we have talked about surrounding fear. We're hoping that we are able to also walk through this every single time we have a new topic. So we're really excited that we're going to try to focus on this ACT acronym. And so Reg, take us out.
Yeah. So we want to encourage you, if you haven't gone and signed up or requested access to our private Facebook group, please, please, please go and do that, because as Natalie has said, everything for us is about the ACT acronym. So it's helping you to assess where you are, helping you to commit to an action, and then transforming your life by taking that action and putting it into play and acting up on it. That really is our 3-step system that we use. And it's what we talk about in the upcoming book. And so we want to dive deeper into that in the private Facebook group. We want to invite you to join the group. And when you get there, we want you to do something. We're challenging you for 30 days to identify an action that you want to put into play. And we want to help you do that. So identify in the group what action maybe you've been stuck on or something that you want to accomplish. Put down the date in your introduction, because we are going to hold you accountable to that date. We're going to actually keep that date, keep track of it. And then in the group, we're going to be doing some group coaching and helping you along the way. So I want to encourage you to do that. We want to help keep you accountable. And then want to remind you, Join us every Sunday. So next Sunday, we are rolling into the month of July and we're on to a new topic. Natalie mentioned at the top of the show that we are going to be doing mindset and goal setting. So important on taking action. So next Sunday, we're going to be talking about breaking the cycle. And what is the cycle? It's related to change, and it's why people have a difficult time making changes in order to take action. So with that, I'm super excited for everyone who, all of the action takers has been joining us and who are a part of our mailing list and a part of our group, because we're getting ready to move into taking action.
Yay. So we'll see you next week.
Next Sunday. Bye. Take care.